in Uncle Steve's lounge. Gonna sit down, have a good time. You're in Uncle Steve's lounge. You're in Uncle Steve's lounge. Gonna sit down, have a good time. You're in Uncle Steve's lounge. You're in Uncle Steve's lounge. Gonna sit down, have a good time. You're in Uncle Steve's lounge. You're in Uncle Steve's lounge. Gonna sit down, have a good time. You're in Uncle Steve's lounge. You're in Uncle Steve's lounge. Gonna sit down, have a good time. You're in Uncle Steve's lounge. You're in Uncle Steve's lounge. Gonna sit down, have a good time.
Hey, what's going on? How y'all doing out there today? This is your Uncle Steve here on Uncle Steve's Lounge. We are here on a Thursday evening, and we're here just because we were following up on what a lot of folks were trying to wonder what the GM would say today in the press conference. And I just wanted to come by and get my thoughts on it and see if anybody else had any thoughts on it. I don't know if he told us anything groundbreaking or not, but he did come out there. And so if it's Falcons news, we try to bring it to you. I am your Uncle Steve. If you haven't seen me before, I have a YouTube channel called Uncle Steve's Lounge. Please, if you don't mind, when you come in, hit the likes button, like the video for me. For my friends on Facebook, please, if you get a chance, go over to the YouTube channel, support the channel for us. We usually come on Mondays for the Monday Minutia and usually on the weekends after the game. However, since the season is over, we will probably end up doing some sort of maybe a playoff preview or review or something like that. We'll get to it as soon as we kind of get into the meat of what's going on. You got six games this weekend, so it should be pretty fun to see what happens. And unfortunate that our Atlanta Falcons aren't participating this year, and that's pretty much what the focus was. A lot of Terry Fontenot's press conference today. Did we get a lot out of it? I don't think you got any more than you thought. I mean, he's gonna come on and say, hey, we're disappointed about what happened. We're going to try to do better. Not really giving away a lot of secrets, which I kind of thought he wouldn't anyway. But I was surprised today watching a lot of the interaction of the fan base, not only watching the video on YouTube, but also on Twitter. And just to see look, let's make it clear. Everyone has a right to feel the way they want to. It's no problem. Have zero problem with that. But it's just very interesting to me, man. I think I haven't, and maybe it's because we showed so much promise at the beginning of the year. Maybe that's why our feelings are hurt so much, because I felt like maybe the Falcons took us on a ride those first 9 games when we were 6-3 and had a big lead in the division. Maybe it's the letdown of it all that is bringing out such a negative core against the organization. Now, there are some that would argue, hey, Steve, stop playing. We haven't won ever. Anyway, that mean in the championship, which they're right. But I'm also saying, look, if we could go back in the DeLorean with Michael J. Fox and get into the position in the car with him and Doc Brown, I'm sure the first thing we would say is, hey, stop after the Dallas game. Stop after the Dallas game and let's, I don't know, let's do something to Kirk. Let's trade him ahead of time. And then we could put Michael Penix in for the last 8 games and go on to bigger and better things, winning the division, going into playoffs, and who knows what'll happen then. But guess what? The world doesn't work that way. Not a soul saw what was going to happen. I'm not, and let me make it clear. Nobody's saying people weren't happy about Kirk Cousins, but nobody saw what was going to happen to Kirk Cousins. No one. No one. Especially coming off the games that we had up to that point. There was no reason to think about switching Michael Penix at the end of October. But things change. And here we are. 8-9, 2-6 down the stretch, which is totally unacceptable. I would have gone for 4-4. But 2-6 down the stretch, I don't care what's going on. There's no excuse for that. That's a self-added super chat. I think that was a test. Make sure everything was working. I'm sorry. But anyway, no one could have foreshadowed what was going to happen with the Kirk Cousins thing. So today, of course, the top question, what do we do with Kirk Cousins? What do we do with him? Well, Terry comes out and says, and I quote, Kurt is a great man, and he's been a great support for Mike, a great teammate, great support for everybody in the building. So we're very confident moving forward with him as the backup. Now, the first reaction, as it should be. Listen, folks, they aren't going to give away any secrets in today's press conference. If you tuned in to the Falcons press conference with Terry Fontenot and thought for 1 minute he was going to give his plans away, well, this is what we're going to do. We're going to cut Kirk Cousins, send him on his way, eat the salary cap, and do blah, 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 blah. No, you weren't going to get it. What you got today was general manager speak. Of course you're not going to want a backup quarterback making the money that he's making sitting behind Michael Penix. Of course not. Now, for those who might have been upset about the comment, well, we've already allocated that amount of money anyway into the quarterback. And for those who don't think three-dimensionally, what he was saying was, well, technically, if Kirk came through and was the quarterback he was, we were going to be in this situation anyway with the money. But no, I understand. People don't want to hear it. I was watching on the ESPN, Stephen A. Smith was basically, and surprisingly, we're on the same page on this one. He was kind of saying the same thing. Of course you want to pump up Kirk Cousins. Of course you want to make him look like the greatest quarterback despite the circumstances. A great man. He'll be willing to back us up. Of course you're going to do that. Because guess what? You're trying to get rid of him. What team is going to take somebody that you're going to say, no, he's trash? And everybody's talking about, well, the Matt Ryan situation. The Matt Ryan situation was different. That was a blind side. They probably had to move on quick because that was not going to be a good taste in their mouth. In this particular situation, Terry played it right. for right now, meaning right now, January 9th, 2025, Kirk Cousins is our backup quarterback. But in going forward, if I was a betting man, if Kirk Cousins is on this roster before the draft, I'll be shocked. But he can't say that. And when you look at the teams right now that need a quarterback, you gotta think about this. Folks aren't gonna pay money for what they saw this year from Kirk Cousins. Now, you might find a sucker team that may make a deal with that. I was literally trying to pull this up while I was thinking about it. Here we go. When we look at the board this year for the draft, you really only have 2 quarterbacks that are projected to go first round, let alone probably top 3, 4. Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward. You have at the top of the draft, Tennessee, Cleveland, Giants, Vegas, Jets, probably New Orleans, that are looking for quarterbacks. You only got 2. Somebody's going to want a contingency plan. Now, none of these teams may be foolish enough to take on all $27 million of base salary that Kirk is going to be owed, but they might split it down the middle. They might take some. They know we're trying to dump Kirk Cousins. So why does what Terry said today make people think that realistically we're trying to go into the season with a $30-40 million backup quarterback? No, he said that to kind of muddy the waters. Teams are looking, and teams are going to ask the Falcons. Not saying they're going to make a deal with the Falcons, but they're going to ask. The Raiders are going to ask. The Jets are going to ask. Because right now, they're not going to get Shedeur Sanders unless they made a trade. So, from that sense, you really don't blame a lot of what Terry said today. Terry's just trying to tell y'all, hey, man, this is where we are. And, apologize to the fan again, just like Raheem did. We're sorry. Now, Terry Fontenot, quite honestly, he is the one more than even Raheem that you have to say, okay, now, Terry, you're a general manager of a team that's had 4 straight losing seasons. He would probably be more on the hot seat than Raheem will be this year. So, yes, they're going to make some changes. There'll probably be some changes coming up in the next week or 2. And there will be some personnel moves. Folks, the gloomy, we paying Kirk all this money, we won't have a salary cap, folks. We go through this every year. One, NFL is going to raise the salary cap more than it usually is. Because I know they made more money this year, again. 2, we're going to have cuts and possible trades that might end up freeing up some money. So all is not lost, folks. We're going to have money to spend. We're going to have some folks to pay. But I also feel like there's going to be a youth movement here as well. One, because you don't have a choice. You can't pay everybody. But you're going to have some things that happen this year that are going to be a lot different as far as the development of some of these young cats. Got too many young folks on this team that are just sitting back and not living up to their potential. So it's going to be a make or break year, especially for Terry Fontenot, especially for him. Raheem too, but especially for Terry Fontenot. You can't do this, and I'm sure Arthur Blank is probably lost money before in business, but this is a pretty big swing and miss for Kirk Cousins. It looked like a value back in October, but now since you're already paying Michael Penix, that's wasted money. And there's nothing you can really do about it. But it's wasted money. So I just want to see what a couple of y'all thinking about. I mean, it's really we gotta stop acting like these guys didn't care about the season. These guys didn't care that we lost. And all the personal stuff, man, I'm just like, dang, man, really? I didn't hear people get this personal about Arthur Smith. And Arthur Smith was one of the most cynical, horrible to the press type guys out there. So I just want to know what your thoughts today on what you guys heard. Did you hear something today that made you feel like Terry Fontenot doesn't care, Raheem Morris doesn't care, this franchise is going nowhere? The franchise was going nowhere, we'd be 4-13. Franchise was going nowhere, we'd be 3-14. What is it? 17 games, right? 3-14, 2-15. Go backwards like the Raiders did. That's why Antonio Pierce got fired. Antonio Pierce didn't get fired because of the color of his skin. Antonio Pierce got fired because he went from 8-9 to 4-13. You don't win, you get out of there. And I hate to say this, folks, and I'm not being funny, I'm not being tongue-in-cheek, I'm not being whatever. Folks, we've been 7-10 for 3 straight years. He improved one game. I'm not saying that's something that you pop champagne for, but it's not like he did worse than last year. I have heard fans come out and say, this is the worst Falcons. Stop it. Y'all don't know what worse is. Y'all have no idea about worse. You have no idea about horrible coaches. Did Raheem do some have crazy coaching decisions that he didn't make in game? Absolutely. But you can't say he went backwards. He went backwards during the season. But that's not his fault. We're going to look back in time and hopefully we can laugh about it in 2 or 3 years. The 4-game stretch in November when Kirk Cousins all of a sudden couldn't throw. 1 touchdown, 9 interceptions. Y'all remember. And the fumbles. I don't know what Raheem was supposed to do about that. And I hear everybody, well, you changing. You know what you thought? If you were Raheem? You thought for a minute, some people go in a slump. After 2 games, if you have a bad game, 2 bad games, you don't bench the quarterback. After 2 bad games. Now, 3, you got to start thinking about it. Now, if y'all remember, we lost the 4 straight. And then the 5th game against the Raiders, you almost lost that. Thank goodness for Bijan in a blast from the past of Desmond Ridder playing like he did in order to get that win? Did Raheem have the foresight to say, oh, I can see it now? At least he did. But I want to hear what y'all think, because what I'm saying is my opinion. I'm not right all the time. Definitely not right all the time. Ask my wife. But I will say, I just would like to see what happens this offseason with Michael Penix getting a summer with these receivers, a summer where the Falcons know something has to happen defensively. I don't know if Jimmy Lake's going to get fired. I would lean towards maybe yes, but I don't know. But at the same time, I just don't get it. This is the first time I think I've ever seen the fan base, and maybe it's because of social media. Because I think about it, yeah, when Mike Smith came, the social media wasn't as hot then. Kind of when the Dan Quinn era was when you really started kind of getting everybody in their mom's opinion about what's going on. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe I'm just more in tune with seeing all the, all of the new ways that people can express their feelings about the team. And then a lot of that, I think people, the fake rage and the fake anger, I guess I'm just over that as a grown person. Just because you yell loud doesn't necessarily mean you're passionate. Maybe you just like yelling. Maybe just because you're mad, it doesn't necessarily mean you're right. Maybe it just mean you're an angry person. So I just feel like let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Now, again, I said it last stream. If we end up in the same position at the end of 2025 season, I'll come on here. Yep. Everybody was right. But I would like to give them a shot. And guess what? I don't even think his players want him to leave, meaning Raheem. But we'll see. We'll see how this plays out. I would start up these comments. I already got a super chat in the house. Goodness gracious. That's from my man John Harris is in the house. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you doing the super chat here, doing our thing. Oh. You know that super chat is good. Appreciate the support as always. Y'all make sure y'all check out the eye test. I think I saw they were coming on later tonight. I'm not sure. I think I saw where he was coming, but him and Winston Thornton doing their thing. Y'all make sure y'all support the eye test on YouTube. He said Cousins was healthy according to Terry. So what happened? The cool question not answered by Terry, and tap dancing was obvious. Fan base mad, and that's that's fair. That's fair. I don't think he could have come out and said anything against Kirk Cousins being hurt. I seriously think he might have been hurt. But if he was hurt and never on the injury list, we'll be in that San Francisco trouble. Remember earlier this year, they got in trouble with McCaffrey and they didn't tell everybody, you know? So I think that's one of those cases where he really couldn't say, because that would get the team in trouble. Cool. And I'm taking this. I went to the Philadelphia game this year, and I had a very good point of view where I was from the Falcons sideline. And I saw Koo twisting, turning, all of that all game. Now, Koo hit a field goal or two in the Philly game, but every time he came back, it wasn't like a regular stretch. It was like he was trying to get something right. Came back. We had another point of view game. Carolina, same thing. Little extra on the twisting, bending. It's one thing to stay loose. It's another thing to say, that's interesting. And I think he did end up missing a field goal in that game. And then, of course, there was the debacle against New Orleans. I say all that to say, I think Koo might have been hurt all year. And shame on Koo for not letting the team know you're hurt. Because I would say that could have cost, not could have, it did cost us the Saints game, and I'll add the Chargers game. Even though Kirk Cousins' 4 interceptions didn't help either. But, yeah, I think that was a huge, huge call in that one. Appreciate you, John. Thank you so much, man. At the top of the list, got Rusty Moore in the house. What's going on, brother? He said, I like Terry. His day 2 and 3 picks are bad, but he is good in free agency, and I don't think he does a lot of word salad. That being said, I don't think any of the front office head coach survives another losing season. I kind of agree with that. I don't think they do either. I think this year was the mulligan. You have what was the record we say? First time ever you had 3 players under 25 get whatever the numbers were for Drake, Bijan, and Penix. Yeah, you can't have that kind of upside and have a losing season. You can't do it. Lisa Shepard is in here. What's going on, Lisa? How you doing, ma'am? Good to see you. Thanks for joining us on Uncle Steve's Lounge. Nando is in here. What's up, brother? He said, cold day today, Uncle, man. It is cold out there. And listen, y'all be safe tomorrow. Speaking of that, man, you don't have to go anywhere. Don't. Even if it's forecast to be a little less than, heavy snow or whatever. If you don't have to go anywhere, don't. I understand people have to go to work. People have to do things. I might have to do that myself. But if you don't have to go anywhere, stay off the roads. So those of us who do have to go can make it easy to work. He said they have ripped the hearts out of the fan base and accepted mediocrity and just want to look well and speak well at their presses. I've died 43 times watching this team. Well, listen, that's how we're supposed to feel. We're fans. And if you ride or die with teams like you do, Nando, and I know you do, you're going to have that ripped out part in you. You're always going to have that. That's what we are. We're fans. We're going to have an adverse reaction to things like the Washington game, the New Orleans game, decisions about timeouts, second guessing the $180 million contract when it was working fine at the end of October and being able to question it. I understand that. I get it. I get it. But at the same time, folks, if y'all can tell me y'all had a crystal ball and could have told us what was going to happen, I wish y'all would have told us in October. We wouldn't have celebrated. Oh, man, my man, Tesla in the house. What is going on? That's my buddy Lamont, man. Let me get Lamont on here with some stuff here.
Super Jet with. Super Jet with. Super Jet with. Super chat with.
That's my buddy from way back. I think we were about 5 or 6 when we first met in the neighborhood. Douglas High, doing our thing, man. He said, sincerely keep representing Kings Grant, Collier Heights, and Douglas well, man. I try my best, man. Thank you for the kind words. Appreciate you as always, man. Look, just knowing that y'all out there supporting it makes me feel better, man. Thank you so much for the support, man. And again, don't be a stranger, bro. I know we got to hook up sooner or later, pretty soon, but I'll holler at you offline about that. Good to see you, man. Thank you for the support, my friend. T. Walker's in the house. What's up, T? He said, what's up, It's crazy. I'm watching First Take's part on Falcons, and boom, you go live. We got fluff. But I think he is setting the tone for Kirk. Yeah, and if you're watching the First Take, I think I know what you're talking about. There was a set today with Stephen A. Smith and Orlowski, L. Duncan, and Molly, I think. And Stephen A. said it perfectly. And again, I very rarely agree with him, but he was saying, dude, you gotta say that. You're trying to pump Kirk's up. You're trying to pump up his value. I don't think it's gonna work, but you've got to try. You can't just come out right now on January 9th when you have some NFL teams starred for a quarterback. And folks, after Cam Ward and Shador, it ain't nobody else. If you're telling me Milroe is going to be a first round pick, yeah, I don't think so. Carson Beck just announced a couple of minutes ago he's going back to not Georgia. I apologize. He's going into the portal. Probably make more money in Neal than he'll make as a second round, a third round pick. That's what you're going to see quarterbacks do now. Because after the season he had at Georgia, and now the injury compounded with that, there's no way he's going to come out as a first round pick. And if you're not coming out, really honestly, as a quarterback, now I'm not saying you can't work your way up from a second round, third round pick. I'm not saying you can't be Jalen Hurts and do your thing. But I am saying if your stock falls like that, you might as well go back and try to build it up a little bit more. Because y'all know at the beginning of the season, they had Carson Beck actually as the number one quarterback coming out this year prior to his troubles this last year. He probably should have come out then. Antoine, what's going on, man? How you feeling, brother? He said, what's up, 478 in the house? What's going on, Falcon family? This is going to be a great year for us. And I know we keep saying it, but eventually it's got to come up. Just talking in existence, think positive. I am always trying to think positive. I got my song on blast.
Happy, 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 happy.
I'm trying. Listen, are things gonna go wrong? Absolutely. But you gotta. I mean, well, you know what? I'm not gonna tell you how to think. If some of y'all just is some folks, I get it. I know y'all want a winner, but if you wall around in that, that negative mud the whole time, that's fine. I try to find the bright side of things. Honestly, I'm probably more of a pessimist than most. But I do say this feels different going into next year. So that's my opinion. T. Walker says, if Kirk wants to play, help us and we will help you. Pride comes before the fall. Call his agent's bluff. But see, the problem is, the buyers, the eventual buyers are those suckers, teams that would even think about taking some of that salary. Now, none of them are going to take the whole $27 million base salary. That's all we would be able to save. But you never know. If things get bad, take a chance. But you just can't come out and paint the quarterback as horrible if you're trying to get rid of him. Jonathan Freeman in the house. What's going on, sir? How you doing? He said, oh, yeah, he's going to want to be a quarterback. Does he think we're stupid? Hurts my intelligence. He played word game today. He absolutely did, Jonathan. But here's the thing, Jonathan, because I know you're a bright man, and that reaction should come out of most fans' mouth. It really should, because anybody with any kind of remote football acumen would say, of course he's got to say that. Man, do you honestly think Kirk Cousins is going to be on the bench making the money he's making? Come on, y'all. I'm gonna need y'all to come on now. King Richie in the house. What's up, King? He said, what's good, Uncle Steve? All I heard from Terry was accountability, and I have no problem with nothing he said. He fell on the sword for the team and the front office. King, I've been trying to tell folks, and my biggest debater has been in my bedroom. My wife is absolutely just over the organization because she feels like they haven't fallen on the sword. She felt like Raheem didn't fall on the sword enough. Raheem came out in the press conference and said, not only do I apologize to the fans, he said, you know what? You want to blame me? Blame me. I got big shoulders. I can take it. But you know what? That's not good enough for some fans. And that's your Bobby Brown. That's your prerogative if you want to feel that way. I don't know what else people want from the man or Terry. To your point, I saw accountability today. I saw disappointment today that they're doing this press conference. They know they had a winning team. They know they're supposed to be in the playoffs. Good teams don't lose 6 out of 8 down the stretch. So maybe maybe that was the wake-up call. Maybe we might not get a lot of the joking press conferences and all the good time smiles and things like that next year. Who knows? But it's a learning lesson. It's a learning lesson or you lose your job. Rounds 1 in the house. What's going on? He says, no, Uncle Steve, I don't know what you were answering, but I'm pretty sure I'll figure it out later. A lot of Bird Gang in the house. That's my buddy, Tidy. He was on right before me today. Y'all make sure y'all check out Tidy on Atlanta Bird Gang on YouTube. Like and subscribe to the video. He always has great content. He went frame by frame with the presser today. He said, it's definitely been personal, Steve. You think Raheem Morris is a head coach who blew a 25-point lead in the Super Bowl with 20 minutes left. Amen. And look, did Raheem make a bonehead play in Washington? Yes. Could Raheem maybe have pulled the string earlier on Kirk Cousins and put Michael Penix in? Yes. Nobody is denying that he's done some negative things, but man, I have seen some of the, and maybe, you know, I can't put myself in other people's shoes. Maybe my anger doesn't get to a level where I start, you know, just losing my mind like that. You know, it's popular for folks to have the, you know, the and do it real loud and act like that's supposed to make you more of a passionate fan. To me, it makes you a rational fan, especially when you're narrow-minded. Look, I understand. I have come to the conclusion maybe about 20-something years ago as a Falcon fan, and not including my younger days as a Falcon fan. I've come to the conclusion that 31 out of 32 teams, and less than that when I was younger, 31 out of 32 teams are going to be disappointed. Case in point, Nobody is giving flowers, throwing parades for the Falcons coming in second place in 1998 and 2016. Nobody, not in history, except in Falcons history, are people remembering the 1998 Falcons team. Nor, as time goes past, is anybody thinking about the 2016 Falcons team. People remember the winners. And 31 out of 32 teams win. Yeah, this week, Pittsburgh celebrating, Tampa Bay celebrating. Well, Pittsburgh might not be celebrating all those losses in a row. Houston is celebrating, Chargers celebrating. All the teams are celebrating this week because they're in the playoffs. And guess what? There are going to be 6 folks that are going to be sitting down this week too, and they're going to get criticized. And their fan base is going to go crazy. Even after they make the playoffs, you're going to get that. That's what fans do. That's what we are. Is Raheem perfect? Not even close. But man, some of y'all act like he literally came in and hurt your heart. The game performance hurt. There was nothing he could do about Kirk Cousins going 1 touchdown for 4 straight games or 5, whatever it was. Not one thing he could do about it. Nothing. But that's Raheem's fault. I don't know. I'm going to say, Steve, let's talk about the early years here, even before Bart showed up. Those were the worst. Man, that's what I'm trying to tell you, man. Kim McQuilkin, June Jones, man, Dave Archer. Chris Miller had 1 good year. After that, down in the toilet. Yeah. God bless y'all for it. Look, 89, to his point, before 1988, 89 might have been probably would have been our 4th best season, and at that point would have been about 25 years. I'm not trying to say it's acceptable. I'm just pointing the fact. An 8-win Falcon game, a 8-win Falcons team back in the day, we're going to the Super Bowl next year. That was the thought. And I understand it's over. And I understand we still can't have that playoff game in the bins. I get it. Y'all don't think I get that? But I just don't get the anger. I don't. King said they honestly do tie him to that title, and that's the problem. Yeah. Rusty said, not personal at all. People want to win, and we haven't been. And that's my thought. Any head coach that had his team win 8 games this year would be catching smoke, regardless of who he is. Well, let me see. If you're a team that's 3-14, I was trying to look. I'm trying to see. If you're actually nobody falls in that category. I was trying to look for a team that might have been like 3-14 1 year and then moved up to 8-9. That would be the only case. So I can't say every team. If a team has improved, that's one thing, but I don't see anybody that fits that category. So for today, that's right. Red Road's in the house. What's going on, Red? How you doing, brother? King said people didn't have this much for Smith and really not even close. Not even close. Benny Smith, what's going on, Benny? Good to see you. Benny said, I still have faith in Raheem and Terry to get things together next season. I'm a fan for life. Rise up. And that's a positive outlook. Look, now I will say this, Benny. I will always be a fan as well. But I really do think the leash is very short right now for especially Terry and Raheem, because you can argue you had a playoff team this year. And we gambled away a couple of games. So I really do feel like we had the opportunity to get there. I don't want that to be missed. Red says, all Terry does is hurt us, but I'm used to it. Well, I hear you, but at the same time, Terry also drafted Michael Penix. He also drafted Drake London. He also drafted Bijan Robinson. He also brought in Jesse Bates. He also brought in Caden Ellis. There is a mixed grade right now for Terry Fontenot for these years, and you gotta put it at a C- or a D, because 4 straight losing seasons, we can't give him a B. You can't. It's kind of hard to give him a C because you haven't had a winning team yet. But he has done some things right, some, and he knows the pressure's on him. I don't think he's gonna run from that. He knows the pressure's on him. Rounds one say leave Ritter alone. Never. Just kidding. I got you. Oh man, Guns and Saints in the house. Look, we gave y'all one job. All y'all had to do was help us out, man. We got y'all next. We got y'all number next year. You missed Mike Smith. I'm gonna tell you something. Mike Smith, and I've argued people. I know a lot of people say Dan Reeves and whatever. I still think Mike Smith was the best coach we've had in this franchise. I really do. Mike Smith came in immediately with scraps. He came in with scraps and took us to 5 straight winning seasons. With scraps. 5 straight winning seasons, 4 of them in the playoffs, 2 of them as number 1 seed. No, he didn't have the playoff win, but you got to walk before you crawl. And that was the crazy thing about that era. For those of us that remember that era, we were thinking about what the argument was back then. The argument was, we can't win a playoff game. Now, you wish you could get back to that game. Can we just get to the playoffs? That's where we are right now. Mike Smith, super, super underrated as a coach. And that's funny. He came in and left right out. Red says Raheem is like an ingrown toenail, and I can't find my man. Ooh, y'all hate some Raheem. King said he did say he dropped the ball in that coup situation. Yeah, of course he did. And again, King, and I think I've heard you even speak about this before online. You know, dude, it's easy for us to talk about what happened after the fact. If Raheem knew Koo was like he was back in September, October, you would have gone out and got Rodrigo Blankenship or got another kicker in here. Remember they brought the kicker in at one point before Koo, when Koo missed those kicks and they brought the kicker in to challenge him? Was that Riley Patterson? I don't know if it was or not. Don't bring him back. But you knew then. But he was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. Koo, you ready? Koo said, yeah, I'm ready. And you know. Red says he was definitely hurting us after October. Because of course he did. Of course he hurt us. Lamont says your logic is refreshing. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Red said, I know Tesla, that's my old neighborhood. That's my neighborhood too, Tesla. That's my neighborhood too, man. we might. But you went to Maze, right? So what you doing over there? All of us went to Dub. And Tavis, man, what is going on, brother? I hadn't heard from you in a minute, man. Happy New Year to you. You said, what's up, Unc? Since the Falcons may keep Captain Kirk focused on the D-line, I don't think we are, man. Like I said before, I think that was smoke and mirrors today to get through that, man. I think that I don't think he's coming. But we do need to work on the D-line. Listen, and we might have to make some tough decisions, y'all. I don't think it's going to be tough. We'll have a show talking about some of the off-season moves for this. I'm pretty sure later on down the line, hopefully I get with my buddy Tidy, man. We usually try to get together around draft time and do some things. So hopefully we can get that together and talk about some movements for some of these players. But yeah, D-line is one of the things. Red says, folks want to go a few rounds in the boxing ring with Terry and Raheem, and then we'll feel good. I hear you, though. Maybe to get that anger out, man. Get that anger. You know what? Guns say, I meant to see that. And I matter of fact, when I get off here, I'm going to have to go back and see what you did. I really do. Rouse was say, hell, I don't remember what I was answering either, Uncle Steve. Hey, man, I tried to come back. King says, you had fans comparing Penix's first 3 games to Ritter's first 4 games, talking about he going to fall off next season. I'm like, bruh, stop the foolishness. King, those are people, those are some leftovers from the good old days. Those are some folks that still can't get over that we let go of that young man. And I don't even know how much I could say it, man. I hope he succeeds at whatever he does. But dude, y'all gotta let him go. That's not even close. Dude, the one pass Penix threw to Kyle Pitts, and I don't even talk about the stuff he did in Carolina. That was amazing too. The one pass he threw to Kyle Pitts in that Washington game was better than any Desmond Ridder pass I've seen in his Atlanta Falcon career. And I mean that for real. I don't even know how people come up with that. They're just trying to make a comparison. He said, you're right, even though Penix had a monster game on his third star, all you hear about is Bryce Young, so nobody recognizes lose. They don't. Nobody cares about second place. They don't. Lamont said, Bob, oh yeah, Bullet Bob Lee. Yeah. Pat Sullivan, Antonio James went way back. Pat Sullivan, yes, sir. Man. Lamont said, I remember a little bit when Norm Van Brockler was coaching. Remember they brought him back too. They brought him back a second time. They brought him back in the, late 80s, early 90s? Red said, I want Raheem to get that tune-up Max Cady got in Cape Fear before he came back and whipped the ball. Counselor, come out, wherever you are. That was one of the best movies, man. Cape Fear. Robert De Niro. Dude, it's not a movie. It's not a movie he doesn't do well. It's not one. Yeah, I was saying, I don't know, Unc. I think folks will always remember 28-3 until we win the big game. And that's fair. That's fair. We tasted it. Some of us celebrated it beforehand. Should have never. But I did. I was one celebrating. No doubt. And Davian says, after all this time, I haven't got it over the fact that Kansas City lost. Yeah. The no call that we got that one game, we would have been in the playoffs because the overtime was what we were playing for thought process. Yeah, that's true. That's true too. Yeah, we weren't going to get any calls against the good teams. Rounds one say Doug Johnson. I forgot all about Doug Johnson. Byron Leftwich. Woo! Man, don't remind me, man. And then Antonio comes back and said, what's up, Unc? I don't know if I gave you a greeting or not, man. What's going on, brother? He said, Uncle Terry drafted Penix, so he all right with me. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Absolutely. Tidy said, who is the pitcher who's lost his fastball, his best pitch? His decline started before this season. It just became glaring in 2024. Not sure his IR status is legit. That's a fair point, too. But I tell you, I saw him doing that twisting and turning, Tidy, when I went to Carolina, when I went to Philly, the first game against Pittsburgh, and each vantage point on the Falcon sideline, you saw him. He looked uncomfortable. And kicker is not a position these days that I'm not gonna hold on to you longer. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no need to hold on to somebody that can't do the job now. He making way too much money. Koo making what, about $4 million? Koo might be one of the most expensive kickers out there. I don't think he's making Justin Tucker money either. But look, Justin Tucker this year getting questioned. Dave Starks in the house. What's up, David? Good to see you, buddy. He said, what's up, Steve? Cousins will have to find a trade partner if he wants to play next year. I'm about done with Pitts, but it looks like he'll still be here. I'm looking real quick, and I'm going to pull it up with y'all in a second. Red said, yeah, I went to Mays. Mom wanted me to go to the MAD program and away from y'all thugs and gangsters. And that prison called Doug High. Y'all live, boy. It's all good. It's all good. You know you wanted to wear the black and gold, my friend. You know you wanted to wear it. Hey? Oh man, what's going on, brother? How you feeling, man? Good to see you in the house, brother. Thank you for joining Uncle Steve's Lounge. Hey, if y'all don't mind, y'all go ahead and like the video for me, man. As y'all come in here, appreciate everybody taking the time to come in and chop it up about this team and about the press conference today. I wanted to see one quick thing when I start talking about the money situation for the Falcons going into 2025. King said, y'all forgot about Redmond. Oh, no, I didn't forget about Redmond. I didn't forget about it. I remember. Lamont says the 27-20 loss to Dallas in 1978, even worse than 28-3 for me. I'm going to tell you what. From an emotional standpoint, that Dallas game will always be one. I literally tears out of my eyes for the Dallas game. Now, I was much more mature 8 years ago when we went 8 years ago we went to the Super Bowl. It hurt. It did hurt. But you know what? I got to give it to you, Lamont. I was probably more hurt in that game. I was probably way more hurt in that Dallas game. And David said the question of the day, do we get rid of our buddy Grady? And I'm about to pull that list up in 1 second after I get through this super chat here from my brother T. Walker.
Well, is he that love me now? Cause Uncle Steve will help you out by reading your super chat world. Is he that love me now? Woo! Could you tell me out? By reading.
I appreciate the support, T. Thank you so much. He says, so are we keeping Lake as a DC, it seems? How cold up there? It's 42 here and people are losing their mind. Boots and fake furs everywhere. Right now, it is currently 32 degrees and they are forecasting all day precipitation depending on what side of town you in. I'm closer to the south side of town, so they're saying a lot more sleet and freezing rain. The more you get, if you're in the Atlanta area, a little bit above I-20, they're saying a more chance of snow for that, as far as that's concerned. But yeah, everybody is kind of losing their mind. Let's look real quick, and I think you're gonna see a lot of changes on here. Bring this up for the blind people like myself. When you start talking about some of the changes that need to be made, and I hope y'all can see that on the screen. Kirk Cousins, it's not a whole lot we're gonna be able to do with that $40 million hit. We're gonna have to. The goal is to get the base salary out of that, which is $27 million. I don't think a lot of people are going to do that. Maybe if they can even split the difference, that'll help. But I just don't see it. Chris Lindstrom just made the he just made the Pro Bowl. He made one of the All-Pro teams. I don't think that's the official one. I don't think that's the AP one, but he made the NFL Players Association All-Pro team. Jesse Bates, I mean, I don't know what you want to do with Jesse's money. Jesse's earned it. Some might say step back. I still think he's one of the top safeties in the league. Jake Matthews is going to be interesting. Look, Jake is not going to miss a game for you, but you might want to start looking. I know at 33, that Matthews family, man, they don't get hurt. Clay was the only one that used to get hurt, but everybody else in the Matthews family, they usually stick around about 15, 16 years. So I would love to keep Jake. I would love to get that number down. My buddy Grady, man, I love me some Grady Jarrett, but folks, that's a big number. And look at this. If you look at it, this is a lot of NFL teams, folks. Teams aren't cheap. You got to pay for these guys. You got to pay. It's going to be about 10 to 11 folks on everybody's roster in the NFL that's going to be over $10 million. So this is not an unusual situation. But you got to look at potential ways to cut your salary down. Would they do something with AJ? He just got a new contract. Would they move some of his bonus money up so they could split it down? Maybe so. David Onyemata. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think this is a year that they may be able to get up, because I think he signed for a 3-year deal. I'm gonna try to see what his number is. Yeah, they can actually get out of his contract this year. They actually could. He played well. David Onyemata is going to be 33 this year. We got to start looking at situations like that. And I'm trying to pull his numbers down. They can get out of this contract this year with only an $8 million hit, which would be more than the $16 million that we owe him. Caleb McGarry. Is he somebody that you think about? Caleb McGarry, who played well, played better than we thought. You can get out of his contract this year. Only a $2 million hit. Those are things that we're going to really have to look at. I know the Falcons are going to be reluctant to do a lot with that offensive line because those folks kind of came through for Bijan and company. I love me some Darnell Mooney early, but I mean, I don't know. I know he got one more year at $9 million. Yeah, you might go ahead and consider keeping him around. That's not a horrific number. But this is the guy right here. Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts has 1 year. 1 year, $10 million. Somebody might take that. Somebody who needs a tight end, they might take that. So I would sincerely think about it right here. I would sincerely think about doing that. So I'm looking at our money situation. Then on top of that, let's take a look real quick at our free agent situation. And this is me talking, so don't think I'm gonna try to talk for everybody. Look at our free agent situation. Matt Judon. I can't do it. Can't do it. Justin Simmons. I know there are a lot of people down on Justin Simmons. I like Justin Simmons back there in the back for maybe one more year until we get a really good safety in here. Lorenzo Carter. Thanks, Zoe. No. Mike Hughes did some good work on the side. I'm not sure. I don't know if we want to try to improve on that or not. If he comes back, I can't pay him more than $5 million. Richie Grant, thanks. Appreciate you, bro. I know he had a better year than most thought. Kentavious Street, if we can find somewhere in that same range, I wouldn't mind keeping him. Rondale Moore, we never got a chance to see him on the field. That 4.29 speed, we never got a chance to see. But now with Michael Penix here and somebody who can stretch the field, maybe you give him an opportunity. Kadero Hodge will probably be back, I'm sure. Storm Norton was a pretty good backup. Drew Dahlman, it'll be interesting to see. Nate Lamont is a restricted free agent, so he'll probably stay around, hopefully for depth, maybe not starting. So we got a lot of moves to make, and hopefully Terry will not be so not that he ever has, but you know, you got to take your heart out of some of this stuff. Some of these things we got to start thinking about as love you, Grady, but for that money, I don't know. And it's almost a bad thing. He got the Man of the Year thing, so he's representing the team. He's on the commercials. He's on the side. It's going to be hard to probably get rid of Grady because they have put him so out front. But I would think about it. I would think about moving him. I really would. It's a lot of money, and Grady's not getting younger. So we'll have that show where we kind of go through that a little bit more. So we'll see. And Toby said nothing better than the purple and teal in South Atlanta, the orange and blue at Columbia, and last but not least, the blue and silver. Redan. I ran track, and I loved that we ran against Mays. And let me tell you something. Redan gave when we made the playoffs, and remind me of this, Lamont. I'm pretty sure we made the playoffs our senior year, and we played Redan. No. It wasn't Redan. It was dang it. Chris Gardaki played for him. I got to remember who the team was we lost to in the playoffs, but he was the kicker and the quarterback. But he went on to the NFL as a punter. Jada says, if we keep Jimmy Lake, I expect this team to have another losing season. Their defense is vanilla, and I want a physical defense. Jada, I'm not sure if that's going to happen. I think people, you know, if y'all noticed this year, Black Monday went by with not a lot of action. And I want to talk about that too. I usually don't get into this kind of stuff because I know there are a lot of people. And I saw this list. I usually like Emmanuel Acho. He got other problems on his mind these days, but he put up a good list about coaches and the black coaches not getting the opportunity and things are not there, which he was right about a lot of those situations and the retread, white coaches and things of that nature. I usually don't go that route, and I'm really not going down there right now. But I do want people to realize I think those two guys were fired in situations that were, to me, a little bit more warranted. And I'm going to explain. I hate that Mayo took that job in New England because I feel like Bill Belichick didn't set him up to win. And I think when they just let him slide into the position, knowing that Drake May was probably going to struggle a little bit and knowing that the team overall wasn't a Bill Belichick team. If it would be one thing if you left him with a 10-7 team or a 9-8 team, but you meshed him with a horrible situation. So from that point, I think Mayo was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. For Antonio Pierce, I think it was plain and simple. I think Antonio Pierce was 8-9 last year. He came down the stretch, won good. They beat Kansas City. Everybody was all hyped on the Raiders, and you regressed. You regressed a lot. You went from right outside the playoffs to battling for the number one pick. And I think that's what did. Now, if Raheem had gone from 7-10 to 4-13, yeah, I would have probably been on board to say, yeah, maybe that's the wrong pick. But to me, that I just think those two situations were different for people trying to go to that narrative for that. David says if we move Pitts, we need picks back. Yeah, I don't think you're gonna get plural picks for Pitt. I think you might get one, maybe a fourth. Right now, he's probably a fourth round pick, maybe. Titus said Grady might do something voluntarily with his contract to make it team friendly in regards to his deal. I think he might. I hope he doesn't play the Derek Carr card where he say I'm not taking a penny less. Grady knows. I don't think Grady's at a point in his career where he probably wants to go to another team. I don't think he does. His roots are here. You know, I think he would love to stay as that guy. Antonio says watching the Notre Dame Penn State game and Abdul Carter would look good in the red and black. Yep, early scouting. Hey man, knock yourself out. That's what we're gonna do. Guns and says skin color doesn't matter to me. I want to win and coach. Yeah, I mean, and it's not. And again, make sure you heard the whole perspective of what I was saying. Nobody's suggesting that makes it. I guess I was just trying to address folks who were trying to think, oh, well, you're not getting any chance. And I think in this case, no, I think Mayo was set up. And Mayo should have gone to a situation by himself. He should have gone to Tennessee. He should have gone to, but maybe they weren't given that opportunity. Lamont said, yes, we made the playoffs, but I can't recall who we played. Yeah, Chris Gardocki was at Redan. Yeah, you know what? Then maybe it was Redan. Yeah, okay. So it was Redan that beat us. You know why I thought it wasn't Redan? Because Redan I thought they were in our region at that time. So maybe it was Redan. Okay. All right. So, okay. So I guess my memory was correct on that. But I remember he threw for a touchdown. And he kicked like a 40-yard field goal. Now, y'all remember this is back in high school and back in our day when I don't think we even had a kicker. I think we used to just run it in. But yeah, absolutely. Got another super chat in here. Our buddy Rusty bringing us some love in here. Oh, let's see. Uh-oh. Let me bring this right here. There we go. For Rusty.
Gonna be here for long. You know, a super chat.
Appreciate you as always, my friend. Thank you for supporting the channel. He said apparently it was in Mayo's contract that he would be the head coach and waiting after Bill. I don't know why. It's strange. I think they wanted Vrabel all along. And yeah, and that whole situation, Rusty, was kind of wonky to me. But Rusty, if I was Mayo, I would have never signed that contract. But I also have to step back and also say, but you know what? If it was his dream to be a head coach and that was the easiest path to get there, then more power to him for getting that job. But I just don't know if I would have. I don't know if I would have lived with that situation. That's me. David said most of the fires happened during. Said, yeah, you're right. I was surprised Dabo survived. I was surprised. J-Dawg says Raheem tries to be Mike Tomlin so bad, but Raheem just got to be himself and do his part. Friends can't come with you on the job. Yeah, I think he thought he was trying to do the right thing with the, I think he was trying to do the right thing. I think he was. Tidy says Lions DC Aaron Glenn declined an interview request from the Patriots. This is what happens when you turn and burn coaches. Yep, the top candidates don't want to come work for you. Take heed, Falcon fans. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's true. Antonio says the messed up part about Jared Mayo firing that the Patriots wouldn't let him interview with any other team. See what I'm saying? That's what Rusty was alluding to. That was a bad situation. Lamont said we lost to Southwest Cab. No. It wasn't Southwest Cab. Let me tell you what happened. And this is my old memory coming back on me. We beat Southwest Cab to win the 7 at that time Quad A championship. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think we that year we went 9-1, and if I'm not mistaken, was our only loss to, was it Farrell that year? But we beat South DeKalb the last game. Remember the Clayton driver? I wish Clayton comes in here every now and then. That was the Albert Huntley to Clayton driver touchdown pass, my friend. That's that game. If they got that was we did not lose to Southwest DeKalb. We lost to who did we lose to earlier that year? Was it Thurl? Seemed like we lost to who wore the orange and black? Was that Thurl? I think we lost to them on Halloween or something like that. Guns says people don't say fat coaches are getting big. This is true. Well, Rex Ryan might disagree with you. So, John, I say is Raheem misses the playoffs and next year and gets fired. What coach will we hire since most of the good ones, Ben Johnson, Vrabel, and Glenn, are gone? I wouldn't even know if Ben Johnson if it's a 100% whether he might not leave. Remember, he was a hotter name last year than he was this year. And to me, he was. Everybody was talking about Ben Johnson last year. And Joe Brady. Right. Absolutely. Yeah, okay, there we go. We lost 13-0 to Redan. Yep. That was 2 field goals and a touchdown that game. Yep. Yep. Jada says Raheem be chewing that gum like Pete Carroll. That gum must be good. I never seen him spit that gum out at some point. Gums lose by y'all leave. Y'all leave Raheem alone. Raheem might like juicy fruit. Levon said, "Yep, great memory. Thurl was a loss." I don't ask me. I remember. I almost remember that might have been Halloween when we lost that game. Yeah, it's so weird. I'll remember things in high school sometimes more than I remember in the Army, which is really weird. But it's crazy. But anyway, folks, I actually wanted to check out that game myself, but I wanted to come in and just get an idea of what we were thinking about the press conference today. We will try to come on this weekend if possible. Maybe even open up the link, have some folks come in here, talk about some things, including the playoff games this weekend, to see what could have been, I guess, with the Falcons this year. I appreciate everybody coming in. Again, if y'all don't mind, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on YouTube, please like the video, tell your friends, subscribe if you haven't been on here before, if you haven't subscribed already. Appreciate everyone joining us for I think this is the second broadcast of 2025. We plan on trying to be around a lot more. We'll have plenty of information on Atlanta Falcons as it goes, but we'll also have some fun on here. We like having fun, laughing, joking with you guys and gals, and talking about sports and other things on here as well. Thank you so much for joining me on Uncle Steve's Lounge. I will catch you all later on. Everyone, be safe tomorrow. For real, if you don't have to go anywhere, don't. Be safe. Take care of your family. Stay warm. Everyone be blessed. See y'all later.
You're in Uncle Steve's Lounge. You're in Uncle Steve's Lounge. good